He has all these lascivious thoughts about Martha Nussbaum, you know, and he writes about it. And in fact, the chapter where he sees her on the back cover of a book and decides he has to get her is called "How Can Anybody Named Martha Nussbaum Look Like That?" Right? And so I had this problem of having to get her permission for this, and it took me a long time to work up the courage, and I finally wrote her at the University of Chicago, and she wrote back the same day and said, "Hey, it sounds like fun, send what you've got." So I sent her the chapter she was in, and she says, "Oh, this is great, it's very funny, my boyfriend loves it, da-da-da-da-da." And
you've since done readings with her.
Yeah, well, one reading. I went out a couple of weeks ago now to University of Chicago, and we did a reading together of her scene, and we had so much fun. We're going to do it again in April at Harvard. She's teaching at Harvard this semester.
Fantastic. One of the things that struck me also about that is that the style is so imbued with, it's all dialogue. It's just, it's ranting and dialogues and monologues. Is that what you intended, or is that what came out? This is your first book.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm pretty much of an ear person. I can be in a room for 6 hours and come out and not tell you what color the walls are or what you're wearing, right? Some of that has to do with hearing people speaking or hearing the music that's in the books. There's, you know, I feel very deficient in the visual areas of the books, but if I can push the dialogue enough, I don't have to do that.
Well, clearly something happened with when you wrote Insect Dreams, which is the half-life of Gregor Samsa, which goes back to Kafka's Metamorphosis. This is published in 2003 to incredible acclaim. The people just, there's stunning national reviews. The local people are going nuts.
It just got picked up in Turkey. They're going to publish a Turkish translation and also a German translation.
It's really quite brilliant. It's a very it's got a lot of depth. It's scholarly. It's an intriguing story. It really works. How did the attention affect you and your writing?
You know what's interesting? Such an enormous time lag between attention and what you've done, that in a certain sense you can't even remember. For me, what was that book about? What's in it? You know, and I haven't read these books. You know. So sometimes I think, oh, there's a scene, and I tell my friends, oh, if you go read it, it's not in there, it got cut. So the attention is always out of phase, and it doesn't impinge very much at all.
Was this a book that was also just ready to be written? Was this something that you'd thought about, what happened to Gregor? And because it covers that whole first half of the 20th century. It's very historically deep. It's philosophically profound.
I had done some previous work, actually with Marcel Marceau. We were supposed to have a production on Einstein. And so I had been over a lot of the atomic material already. And that was very important to me. And the idea of stick cockroach, the 6-foot talking cockroach, into it came to me unlike any other of my books, because I had visited Kafka's grave and written him a note and stuck it in the gravel, like all the other notes there, and invited him to come visit us in Vermont if he had any time. And then one night, about 3 weeks later, I had no idea of this book. The entire book came into my head all at once, beginning to end. A few characters walked in that weren't there originally. But all the other books just start with these really tiny ideas, and they develop from themselves. But this one came as a whole.
Fantastic. Well, since we're running out of time, quickly, The Education of Arnold Hitler covers an early part of your life. It's a coming of age, but it's also about the second half of the 20th century.
Up to 73.
Yeah, well, right, up to 73. Here it seems that you explore language and use of language and how it can also be distorted and definitions can be distorted. How are we doing with our use of language today in American culture?
I can't imagine it getting any worse. I mean, the emptiness of common speech, the vicious propaganda use of political speech, the consequent cynicism around the notion that anything could be true or preferable, it's all language related. In fact, this book, Arnold Hitler, did start out just with the idea of this, what's called in semiotics the free-floating signifier. Here we have this word Hitler. The story is about a really nice guy with a very crappy name, right? And somehow this word completely overshadows his enormously personal qualities. And he's a very, very interesting failure just because his name is Hitler, even though he should have been the greatest success.
Just 1 minute left, sorry, but music is so much a part of your life. How has it contributed to your
Well, first of all, it keeps me sane. I had this vision. We were playing the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto a couple of years ago, and just second movement, we're just laying down these little simple, beautiful chords, and I realized that that was the absolutely specific antidote to Ariel Sharon and what was going down in Israel and Palestine at that time.
And you write about it so eloquently. Are you hopeful for the future?
And, yes and no. I finally know, because I don't think we can outrun the planetary catastrophe, and I don't think we can outrun the financial catastrophe that's about to happen because of the way we've had huge debt. I'm a little bit optimistic about what's happening in Latin America.
Okay, I'm sorry we're out of time. Mark Estrin, always wonderful to talk with you. Thanks for coming here, and thank you for joining us on Profile.